So, you're considering fostering a dog, but you don't know where to even start. Well, I was in that position about 2 years ago, so I'm making this video to discuss how you can start out on your journey to becoming a dog foster carer. There's a few different ways that you can approach dog fostering, and it all depends on how much freedom you want, both in being able to choose the dog yourself and also choose adoptive families, as well as the circumstances surrounding yourself. So do you only have a few days free to do some fostering, or do you have a long term, maybe a few months or a few years? And which option you go for really depends on those circumstances. The first option that you have is the one that I personally took, which is to contact some of your local rescues and to officially sign on as one of their registered foster carers. And the way that you can do this is just by either going onto their website, and usually they will have a form to fill in a request to be a foster carer, or if you can't find that, you can email them directly and say you're interested and ask whether there is any sort of program for that. Quite a lot of rescues are overrun with different dogs and struggling to find the kennel space, so they are usually more than willing to discuss having new foster carers come on board. It's important to keep in mind that different organisations will have different systems. So the organisation that I tend to foster for has a case where they will select a dog that they think that I am most suited for, and they will offer it to me, and then I can say yes or no as to whether I feel that I'm suited to it as well. There are other organisations that I've heard of where you can literally go in or browse the website and say, I'm interested in fostering this specific dog, and the rescue will hand that one over to you. But that's not the case with the rescues that I'm signed up for. I tend to just wait for them to decide that I'm the right carer for the dog they found. If you are looking for a bit more of that freedom of choice, then the next option could work for you, which is to browse the social media pages and actual dedicated websites for the different foster organisations. Sometimes these organisations will be advertising a specific dog that they think needs a foster home, and they may not have fosters in their network who are available at the time. So they'll put out a call to the general public to say, this is the dog, these are its characteristics, its behavioural quirks, the reasons it might be in rescue. And if you think that you're suitable for looking after that dog, you could message them directly and say, this is the dog that I'm interested in, and find your first foster dog that way. Now, with rescue organisations, they tend to have a lot of different admin work that they have to work around to be able to match you with a dog. And if you want a bit more freedom outside of that, and you don't want to have all of these rules constraining you, then there are various community groups that might suit you better. So these groups will look out for dogs before they even end up in the rescue shelters, and they will select them and say, I will actually look after this dog and help find it a home. And then they become fully responsible for that dog, and then could potentially pass it through different community groups if they end up not being the suitable home for them. So there is a bit of risk in that once you've taken the dog, there is no fallback. You can't just send it back to a shelter. But there is also often support with other members of the community, and you can find these groups across various social media sites as well. So the options that I've discussed so far are talking about you becoming the primary custodial person for this dog. But if you don't have that sort of time and you're just looking for a shorter time span, then you can look out for different respite programs. So these are systems where you become a respite carer for the permanent foster carer. So if the foster carer needs to have like a week's break because they're tired, or they want to go away on holiday for a few days, then you can sign up to be a person who will take over the care of that dog just for that time. You're not responsible for it until it gets adopted. You can just hand it back to its permanent foster carer. And this can be a great way to get involved with fostering, even if you don't have a lot of that time yourself. So I'm actually a zoologist, which means that I do a lot of field work at different times of year and then desk work at other times of year. So my shift patterns look very different depending on the month we're looking at, which means sometimes I can accept having a permanent foster dog, and sometimes I need to be a respite carer. So I'll say, actually, just for this period of time, I'm only available for holiday cover, because I can guarantee I can block out a weekend maybe, but I can't guarantee that I won't need to be in the field away from the house much longer than a dog is able to be left. And finally, there's also an option where you're fostering dogs that aren't looking to get rehomed, but they just need to be temporarily housed somewhere. So these are often in various programs that are advertised online for people in transition. So for example, a common one is people escaping a domestic violence situation. They will have their dog and they may feel like they can't leave that situation because they would have to leave their dog. But these foster carers can step up and say, I will look after your dog for 9 months to a year. You don't need to worry about that. And once the time period is up and you're settled in a new situation, then you can have your dog back and you don't lose ownership of it. So I've not personally done this type of fostering, but I've heard of people who have, and I think it's a really valuable thing to be contributing to. So those are some of the ways that you can start out fostering dogs and where to look out for these dogs to become your first foster. Let me know in the comments if you're interested in fostering dogs and have any more questions that I could help answer before you embark on your journey.